Well, it's packed. You can grab one at any of our KFAN events, or anytime you see this tree team out and about this summer. You can go to Mall of America and redeem it for discounts and exciting prizes. Check out upcoming events, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
The 4 o'clock hour starting a little later than usual. It's been a very busy first day at the Great Minnesota Get-Together. It's hard to argue with the lineup thus far. Monty Creason's Traveling Reptile Show, starring these days Two Dogs. I don't even know his real name, do you? I just go with Two Dogs.
No idea.
Honestly, I don't have any idea.
I don't have any idea.
When he goes and orders food to go and they ask for a name, does he say Two Dogs?
Probably.
Probably does, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, that's probably true. We had Jimmy Jam right off the top of the program. That was fun as always. And we've got John Bream, the estimable music critic, longtime music critic and Blue Oyster Cult aficionado, joining about an hour from now.
Yeah, John Bream basically demanded an appearance on the show because of our next guest.
He said, the same day, whatever day you have Andy Luger on from the fair, I demand not only be on that same day, but to be on after him to counter his poison regarding popular music. And it's welcome back to the show, first of all. So Andy Luger, how many of you know who he is? Former U.S. attorney, two-time.
And no protesters.
And no protests, but it's early. That could change. And still no bleacher covers, which affects our, for people, the lack of shade's kind of tough. But it sounds like it's been working on your conscience, because the last time you came in studio with us, I don't even know how we got to talking music, and you lit up a bunch of 70s and 80s acts, basically said nothing was any good for a period of about 10 years until Lou Reed came along. And I think now maybe, are you feeling a little guilty, or are members of your family, are they pressuring you to back off a little bit?
So here's what happened.
Okay.
A number of us have kids. Shortly after I was on the show, and we talked about Blue Oyster Cult in Kansas, and
that's the one that wounded Guardsy. I think,
yeah, it really did. Yeah, Guardsy went off. I was at home. We had some people over, and our daughter was there, and she doesn't listen.
Well, thanks a lot.
Well, she's my daughter. She doesn't listen to me. She listens. So they're talking about, Luger blew up the show and the Blue Oyster Cult, and she just looks at me. She goes, "What'd you do?" And
she wasn't surprised, is what you're saying.
No.
Okay.
And she said, "What'd you do?" And I said, "Well, we did this." She goes, "Dad, you got to stop." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she says, "Don't you remember my 7th grade choir concert?" Now, what do you say to that?
You better remember.
Of course, I remember every minute,
every musical note.
I don't. And it's one of those choir concerts, 7th, 8th grade, where the kids come out, somebody plays "Let It Be" on the piano, and it's cute. Whether they're good or not,
you're killing yourself again already.
No. I love all these kids. They're great kids. They're great kids. So the girls come out and they do a song, and then the boys come out and do "Carry On, My Wayward Son."
Great song.
The Kansas classic.
Yeah, which Guardsy went off on.
Yes.
And so she says, "Dad, the entire auditorium knew how you felt about that song. By the week's end, the entire school knew. You gotta stop doing that." And it just sort of hit me, she's like, not everybody likes this. So I come to you with contrition and humility, and I designed a T-shirt
even better,
for anybody I offended.
Okay, that's beautiful.
And I brought a few.
Come with gifts. Oh, you got some with you? Oh, nice.
I brought some with me.
Oh, outstanding.
You can read it out loud.
Let's take a look. Get this. We're tied up to the microphone cord. Let me read the front. Read the front first.
Yeah.
I learned to fear the Reaper. Your feelings could not go much deeper. 1976 was clearly a keeper. Kansas at 5. Brilliant.
And then on the back?
Very well played. Nicely done. Here's the back. The Luger Apology Tour, Kansas, Blue Oyster Cult, Boston, and sticks. That's brilliant. That took some thinking.
So, well,
wow.
I'm not sure you're really contrite.
Contrition and
but
humility.
I think you've kind of been bullied into it, to be honest with you.
I was persuaded.
So
for however you decide.
These are nice, yeah. Those are outstanding. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Very few of our guests come bearing gifts.
Well, who's your T-shirt guy? I mean, we might need to use the T-shirt guy
use
next
them,
year.
yeah. You got
That's
people
a quick
turnaround.
It was
impressive.
It was a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
So that's my
well done.
The new Andy Luger.
Yeah, we'll see how long it lasts, because I think to a certain extent you can't help yourself. It depends on what road I lead you down or what road you end up. So we'll see how long it lasts, the apology tour.
Right.
But it's a good thought, and it's a hell of a bit. I mean, it's all very, very good. I actually want to start with some sports with you, because I was thinking of you again the other day. And I don't think we hardly talked any sports beyond your best run block in the history of your, I guess we could say, distinguished offensive line career.
Yeah, which some people, by the way, have commented. I started off by saying I'm going to do the short version.
Yes.
And it didn't actually work out that way.
That's okay.
So
I thought it was a good story. I mean, did you get ripped for people's family members again saying you took too long?
That wasn't the short version. Dad, that wasn't the short version.
Edit a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, well, that happens. You were on a roll. I thought we'd just let you go. But the interesting dynamic in this town, and you've been pretty, until recently at least, pretty adamant about this, has to do with J.J. McCarthy and what to do with them. Because I've been off for a few days, and it feels like since the last preseason game, everybody has given up on J.J. McCarthy. Now the speculation is, will he be third string? And if he's third string, are they just going to cut him? Could they possibly get anything for him in a trade? Is it over before it's over? And you, last year, were a committed J.J. McCarthy guy. You wanted to see it out. You wanted to see it through. So how have you, I guess, absorbed and how do you analyze what has taken place with your guy J.J. McCarthy, and are you ready to give up to surrender and give up the ghost?
I'm not.
Oh.
And I'm a majority of one on this, I think. So for years, as a committed Vikings fan since I moved here, I want a steady quarterback. When was the last time we had a quarterback for, we talked about
for
this thing,
longer than a year or two.
Tommy Kramer and Frank.
Right.
So you can't really be a great football team without think about all the great dynasties have the same quarterback. So they drafted this guy. He's got issues. He overthrows people. Maybe
he calls himself 9.
I don't care about that.
That doesn't bother you?
No, in New York, Walt Frazier called himself Clyde before anybody.
It was Walt Frazier.
Yeah, well, right.
It was Clyde.
It's a fair point.
Go ahead.
Fair point. I think it's worth trying this.
Yes.
And look, you said it on the air, and it's a really good point. If Kyler Murray is just average, or so-so, or they're 9 and whatever, what do we do? And to me, I still would put JJ out there and say, throw the ball, run the offense. We saw things you could do. I'm hanging on, and literally, I can't find anybody who agrees with me.
No, I give you credit for not, just curling up in the fetal position and giving up because everybody else is. Here's the sticky wicket, to your point, because it's not a bad point, but I think this falls into the classification of good intention, worst timing possible. Because deep down, whether he wants to admit it or not, KOC needs to win in the postseason. Mm-hmm. So let me back up and say, if ownership goes to him and they publicly say, here's our proclamation. We've just extended KOC for another 5 years. That's how convinced we are this guy can coach. And what I'm telling them by this signal that we're sending this entire organization is, we don't ever want to take a step sideways or backwards for the purposes of getting better down the road. But if you tell me as the head coach you believe in McCarthy, but there's going to be some challenges and there are going to be some struggles, and we may even finish 7-10. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to hold it against you yet on the no playoff victories. That's the problem. I don't think there's any owner willing to say that publicly. And I know whatever he says publicly, KOC has to know we can't give away another year. Not for Justin Jefferson.
Right.
There's too many reasons for us to not be able to do the we're going to have a gap year. If they knew they had a gap year, I'd be with you, but I just don't know if main people in the organization can afford it.
I think there's a no-win situation here. I mean, I guess the win is Kyler Murray really does well, and we have a great season, and he's Sam Darnold too. I like that, and I'm going to hope for that because I've lost the argument. I don't.
Yeah.
I have. The real question here is, when are we ever going to have a quarterback who stays multiple years and leads the team? And without that, you've got a very short horizon. So maybe Kyler Murray is going to get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We win a game. That would be terrific. I worry about our stability as a team. I think the best argument against my point, there are many, but the best is the Jefferson point. How long is Justin Jefferson going to sit around with a mediocre team being the best receiver in the league? I don't blame him for that, and that causes me pause, but I'm still where I am.
Yeah, there's not a lot with you, but I appreciate your tenacity in that regard.
Hey, law professor of mine, I made the argument,
Yeah.
He's just looking at me, and he said, Mr. Luger, stick to your guns, unloaded though they may be. And I've never forgotten that.
Guardsy, on our production, I'm kind of a tweener here. Do I go to 27 now?
Yeah, 27.
Okay, we'll go to 27, then we'll kind of work from there. The other issue, I think, is, and this is the trap that you can fall into. There's nothing to refute regarding your argument. We know this better, Vikings fans know this better than most fans, right? Because of Green Bay's succession of quarterbacks that last 10 to 15 years each, okay? That's the goal. That's what you want to get to, where there's not this indecision and inconsistency, possibility that you're going to compound one mistake by two more out of desperation. But what if you come to the conclusion that even though the theory is, yes, we need continuity, this ain't the guy we thought he was. So then do you run from it and say, well, it was a good idea, but we're foolish? The Niners are the best example. San Francisco 49ers, who was the QB from our part of the country, Guardsy, that Trey Lance.
Trey Lance, North Dakota State.
They absolutely, what he was taken, second or third in the draft?
They moved up to take him.
They gave up all kinds of stuff, and they said, that's the guy. Because we we had Joe Montana forever, we had Steve Young forever. Yeah. We want to have this guy forever. But they pretty quickly said, he ain't the guy.
Yeah.
At which point they said, we're not going to be stubborn about sticking to it for the sake of sticking to it if we trust our judgment, and our judgment says, well, we read too much into what he did or what we saw with the scouts.
So I've only talked to KOC once.
You have talked to him?
What?
You have talked to him?
Yeah, once. And it was brief.
What was the occasion?
As part of an investigation? Were you investigating him?
We came.
Are you really the quarterback whisperer?
Yeah,
really came close to charges. No, we were it was a leadership event. I was invited, and people. Then at the end of his talk, he said, "Who's got questions?" And it's Minnesota. Nobody raises their hand, so
that's true.
I raised my hand.
Yeah,
and I was right up front, and I said, "Look, Coach, I own a Josh Dobbs jersey. I thought this guy, with those 3 games, was going to take off. So what happened, and what did you say to him when he left?" And he just looked at me like, who invited this guy? I'm loyal to a fault. I thought...
Yeah, you are.
I was going to wear my Josh Dobbs jersey today, but I felt like after last show, I need to tone it down. So, but I wear it to every game that I go to. We just have to find somebody.
Yeah.
And if we fish and cut bait, we cut bait on JJ, that's okay. I'm not gonna blame anybody, but it just feels like I saw maybe I'm the only one, but I saw some flashes. I'd like to try it.
Do either of you, Guardsy, this is for you too.
Yeah.
Because we've been both off for a few days. There was a mini controversy that broke out that I'm bewildered by a little bit, but I'm curious to get both of your views on it. And it was, speaking of the head coach, it was a comment off the cuff he made. Was it after the last preseason? I don't know, or a scrimmage. Basically kidding about the fact that almost like the old Drew Brees line is that his QB was saying he was having some trouble seeing over the line of scrimmage over the middle. And I wasn't offended by it. But there were some people in the media that lost their minds. That you literally can't, if you're the head coach, you can't send that signal out if you want to make it work with Kyler Murray, that's just, whether it's true or not isn't the point. You can't possibly put that in people's heads. Were either of you offended by that? Because I was not.
Very simply, I'm not offended by it, no.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
No.
It sounded like the truth.
Yeah.
And what's wrong?
Like, people aren't going to notice if he doesn't say it? I mean,
after 7 years in the NFL, we're just realizing that?
He's 3'9".
Yeah.
I mean, he's little. It doesn't make him a bad person.
He's not Bill Russell.
He's not. That's very true. That's very true. Well, it's good to know that we're at least on that, we're all on the same page, and I don't think that should get you in any kind of trouble, either here or at home. Let's make this the bottom of the hour pause. Former U.S. Attorney Andy Luger, kind enough to join us in studio. He will spin some state fair yarns that he might have for over the years. We'll find out if he comes under duress or believes in this event, because we have some regulars who can't stand any pressure, Kevin Seifert, to be here. And then there's some others who say, no, we love every bit of it, and we mean it. We're not just saying it because we're supposed to say it. And I got a couple of, I guess you could say, topical items at least to try to broach with Mr. Luger when we come back from the Great Minnesota Get-Together. John Bream is scheduled after the Top 5 at 5 if we have one. That'd be about 5:15.
This is Bumper to Bumper live from the Minnesota State Fair on The Fan, presented by Mesh, Besher, and Spence.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center.
If you want to chime in what's happening with your favorite KFAN shows, you can. You can make your voice heard on the Brad Sean Bryant KFAN text line. So let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. At 64686, standard text message and data rates apply.
Andy Luger is back with us from the Great Minnesota Get-Together. Give me, I don't, if we've covered this before, I apologize, but I don't think we have. So, the Luger State Fair experience, brought to it grudgingly in the beginning, bored with it, still bored with it, loved it from the beginning, learned to love it. Where are you in all that?
None of the above. When we moved here in 1992, I dove into Minnesota. I wasn't going to be the guy who said, "Oh, I miss New York," and you can't do that.
Yeah, smart.
I got rid of the Knicks. I got rid of the Giants, which is not that hard. But I got rid of the Giants. I got rid of the Yankees, Twins. I dove in, and the fair is part of diving in.
Yeah.
So we came. We had visitors from different places. We brought them here. My wife's father, my father-in-law, supported himself through medical school by selling rainbow ice cream.
Oh, wow.
So this goes way back in the family, and I wanted to be part of it. Now, does that mean I love I'm not an animal guy, so maybe not with
What bothers
pigs.
you, the smells?
The pigs, I'm not...
You're not a big pig guy. Okay.
I'm a city guy, so
Okay.
animals, pigs, but I get it.
You understand it's part of it, though.
I do.
Yeah.
And there's the milk and the butter, and we ate way too much one time, and we always brought the kids. And then when I ran for office, I hung out at the DFL booth.
Yeah.
And then, well, that's something. And then everybody comes up and talks to you and tells you what they think.
Yes, they do.
And they have thoughts
Yes.
and feelings. And it's fun. I mean, it's a get-together. What's wrong with a get-together? If it's not too hot, like today is gorgeous.
This is perfect. Yeah,
Right?
if we get this kind of weather, we're gold.
Yeah.
This is just day one. We don't need to spend maybe a lot of time on it, but we had the story breaking, was it a couple of weeks ago, and you can maybe refresh my memory on where we are with the thing. And it was, I think, basically a lawsuit filed. Was it on behalf of both counties? Hennepin and I can't remember where, and Ramsey, that basically identifying individual, what they described as gang members.
Right.
And the suit was, look, you've identified yourselves. You're on social media saying, here's where the rumble's going to be. You guys are going to go at it here. We don't want you at the fair, so we're going to identify you and try to stop you from being there. Yeah. Some people loved the strategy. Some people that texted me mocked it and said, well, what are you talking about? How can you possibly... How are you going to monitor that exactly? You have cameras everywhere. So you've been in that business, especially when it deals with gangs. Mm-hmm. So what did you make of that? Is it effective, and where does all that stand? Do we know?
Well, it's exactly the right strategy because you can identify the people. You know them by name and face and where they are. you sue them under nuisance law and say, you can't come here. And then most of them immediately say, okay, we don't want to be part of this. So you got that. And then you shouldn't, you can mock anything you want, but this is a legitimate law enforcement strategy to protect every one of us. We're all protected by it. And, this goes back to the whole Somali gang thing that we talked about. These are Somali gangs, and they called it out. They said this is what it is. We don't want you at the fair. We want everybody to be safe here. And it's effective, and it's working, as far as I can tell.
Do we still have a disconnect here on that issue to this extent? From a media standpoint, there are still many outlets who would not call it. They would not call these individuals Somali gang members.
But they are. So do we have a disconnect? There's the truth, and there's what people want to say. So why don't we just all say the truth and let the chips fall where they may? I can't tell the media outlets what to do, but that's what Sheriff Fletcher did, and that's what I did. Yeah. If they were
you get blowback for it, though, don't you?
Not that much.
Not that much.
Frankly, most people, Somali, non-Somali, whatever you are, get it. If you don't say what it is, you can't address the problem.
Mm-hmm. On that, I saw this quote today, but I don't know who said it. But it seemed sort of symptomatic of the times we live in, regarding even the ability to identify what you just identified. I think our reverence for truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done. Now that quote, this was from some big shot. I don't remember who it was, and I'm thinking, that worries me. Because in effect that's saying, hey, look, the truth's helpful when you can get to it, and truth, that's a tough one in itself, philosophically speaking. You could say there is there isn't truth always. There's different views, but the idea that we got to kind of hedge our bets on going after what we think is accuracy, because it can become a bit of a distraction. And more important than that, we have to find consensus, which again tells me you're more worried about alienating some part of the political spectrum rather than getting to the quote-unquote nub of a story. I don't think that serves us.
You can do both. You can focus on the truth and still build consensus. Just because the truth is X doesn't mean everybody has to agree on how to deal with X.
True.
And you can have a dialogue and debate, but you got to agree on X. And if you can't even talk about X because we're worried about hurting people's feelings, I think we're lost. And so I completely disagree with the quote if the person was trying to make the point that you said.
Yeah, that's. I'll find eventually who said it. But it definitely got my attention, and it didn't surprise me actually, because I do think that's for me part of the disconnect in having any of these conversations. You go, well, we got no shot. If we can start going down that road, we got no shot.
Well, we are going down that road,
and we are going down that road. There's no question.
So we got to fix it. Is my point.
All right, the giant Meta lawsuit settlement. Again, Guardsy's been out. I've been out. We've not had a chance to talk about this. And I will admit something you're not supposed to admit on talk radio. I've only read cursory amounts on the settlement and what it allegedly represents. At first glance, as cynical as we can all be about any of these settlements, especially with Meta Guy, it looked to me like it was a pretty significant step in terms of some of the details, in terms of what it is demanding of Meta. What's your reaction?
It is a step, but it's just a step. We have a lot of work to do to protect our kids, protect our society from these algorithms, from addiction online, from the danger and harms online. And so this is a step, but, like any step, we shouldn't just focus on that. There's a lot we need to do, and there are really good people who talk about it and think about it and write about it without getting hysterical or ideological. We're not going to eliminate the internet, social media, and our focus on that. We just have to figure out ways to protect ourselves and our kids. And this is one step.
So how do we thread the needle in the sense that you're just talking? Because there's a part of me when it comes to freedom of speech, First Amendment, I'm kind of a Bill Maher guy. So I'm saying you can't just want to, we're going to squash it when it's convenient to you, because it can have longer term ramifications when someone else is in power. So how do we thread the needle? Because we are talking about children in this, or kids to that extent. How do we thread the needle to properly protect without losing our minds over what we kind of have to accept as imperfect as this system might be?
So my analogy, and it's not perfect, but my analogy goes back to when I was a kid, and first everybody smoked, and nobody wore seatbelts. And when you sat in the way back of a car, you banged around,
Yes,
and the windows were closed, and you had smoke in the car.
Yeah.
So, right.
In the station wagon, I remember
Exactly.
it was. Yeah.
And, today, my kids would be horrified. Anybody would be horrified,
Yes.
but I know my kid would be like, Dad, what do you everybody's going to die. But that was normal.
Yes.
I think we got to look at this that way. So I, for example, think everybody needs to understand what it is their kids are doing online. We're not going to take everybody's phones away. We're not going to, but what's going on? And I'll give you one quick example from the research I've done and some of the work I'm doing on extremism. Is a kid is brought to the doctor, the hospital, and he's cut himself, or she's cut herself. And they're like, what's going on? And we took the phone away, and we don't want him online because of this. And the doctor examines the kid and then comes back to the parents and says, well, he's all stressed out about his phone. And these kids, they live on their phones, so you got to give him back his phone. Now you can talk to him, and here's some things and guides. They give the kid back his phone. The reason he was cutting himself is that he's in a chat with one of these recruiters, and 2 hours later he's dead. True story. Lots of true stories.
Yeah, I've read some of these.
And so, it's not the parents' fault, and you can, the doctor. Everybody needs to learn what's going on. And I think that's, the public service announcements, whatever it is. The other one was littering. I mean, my kids can't believe this, but we grew up, people threw garbage out the window.
They did.
I'm looking out at right? People are nodding their heads. You remember. And then there was one commercial that came on, which, we all, those of us who were alive back then in 1976 and other great years, remember, Cards, you like that? I got that. So call back. We fixed things, and you could say that was simple, but those were ways we lived. My father was chain smoking cigarettes in the Oldsmobile with the windows closed. I think we need to take some of this on. We need to all take responsibility. Our government needs to help us, not so much censoring, but by bringing all of this to attention. We need a new language. That's what I think.
No, that's a good short version. There's a lot of flesh out there, but it's a good start.
I could do the 3 blocks and we scored a touchdown version, but that that goes on a lot.
Well, that's a good place to break. Let's get one more break in. Former U.S. Attorney Andy Luger, kind enough to join us from the Great Minnesota Get Together. A couple more questions for him, and we'll see if there's any other popular music groups from the 70s he wants to either now defend or further insult. That's up to you, because I worry that you think you've made such inroads with this that now you're going to become vanilla and you're going to back away from what your real honest opinions are about a number of these groups.
One of the critiques I got was you didn't talk about all the stuff you loved. And so...
Well, yeah, you did. Well, some.
Not enough. Not enough.
I have a theory on your musical taste. I'm going to run by you also when we come back.
Oh, God.
We'll see what you think. Don't forget John Bream, speaking of popular music, just had a great salute, one could say, to Dolly Parton, who passed away while we were gone as well at the age of 80. He is scheduled to join about 5:15 on a beautiful afternoon. Great Minnesota Get-Together, day one. Back in a minute.
It's Barreiro at the State Fair on the Fan.
Game day starts at Hy-Vee. Before you fire up the grill, stock up on all...
Your All Access Pass to KFAN starts at KFAN.com/watch. You can watch a Power Trip Morning Show, program password, exclusive interviews, and more. Get closer to the shows and personalities you love. It's all powered by Quantum Fiber Internet.
We are back at the Great Minnesota Get-Together. Andy Luger is still with us in the booth. Let me try this music theory on you.
See, you're really trying to drag me back.
No, not completely.
Right.
I think this is. I think part of the disconnect or disagreement regarding lots of pop groups, a lot of musicians, a lot of vocalists, the whole bit, is wholly dependent on what pleases you. There's, I think, an element of music listeners who are more into what I would classify as the groove and the sound, and others, I think, are more into the words and the message that might be conveyed. So I can give you a million popular music groups that I like who don't have anything particularly profound lyrics and don't even necessarily often have a message that might, convey the way a lot of Springsteen songs might, Dylan songs. But I like the groove. I like the sound. I like the melody. My guess is you're not a melody guy.
I am.
I'm more of a melody guy.
See, I think you're trying to pigeonhole me.
Oh.
Now, the new me, contrite and humble,
it's not going to last.
is going to say, I like a wide variety of music. So you'd be surprised.
Okay.
I think one of the best songs ever made has very little meaning, but I can't stop listening to it. Sweet Caroline.
Yeah. It's an anthem.
All right. And before it became, Boston kind of. Anyway.
Well, I'll give you I didn't argue with him about this, but I think I kind of annoyed him a little bit, which isn't be the first time that's happened with a guest. Won't be the last. This is years ago. This would be at least 10 years ago. We had Todd Rundgren on.
Yeah.
Who I always have loved.
Yeah.
And Rundgren was almost like diminishing. Part of it for Rundgren was, I know people want to hear something, anything. They want to hear some of the sweet, syrupy, sappy hits. But I need other stuff. I'm Utopia guy too. I like that music. And I go, here's what I would say to you. I said, it's obviously easy for me to say what you should play. But what I reject is, I said this to him, what I reject is you denying the skill of your own work. There, in my opinion, is skill in doing pop well, which I think in his heyday, he did.
Hello, It's Me.
Yeah, Hello, It's Me is the greatest example of that. And he kind of agreed with that. I just think it's so easy to... You familiar with Michael McDonald? Again, that's Yacht Rock guy.
Yeah.
And Michael McDonald is self-deprecating to a fault. He basically almost apologizes every time somebody asks him about one of his songs. Like he's going, I don't know how I've pulled this off as long as I have. And people are, this stuff's drivel. I don't know what I'm doing. And it's similar to me. And I don't love every Michael McDonald song at all. I don't love every Todd Rundgren song. But I think you should not have to apologize for pulling off pop as well as some people do. That's my only point.
And I agree with you. And one of the things Todd Rundgren did was he was one of the people behind Meatloaf.
That's correct. He's a great record producer.
And, that whole thing was a spoof on Born to Run. It was a takeoff on Bruce. They didn't like Bruce Springsteen. And so there was genius in that.
Yes,
because
that's
it became, again, 1977, different year, became one of the one of the top selling records of the year. So Todd Rundgren has done so many things. I go a different way from you. I think each of these artists get to do whatever the heck it is they want to do.
Right.
And, like Dylan mumbles, and everybody does their thing. But
much to Kessler's chagrin.
Yeah, Kessler's wrong. Well, I couldn't try.
Is Kessler ever to come on, by the way? Kessler?
Not booked yet.
Okay.
I don't know.
You got to take everybody for who they are. Neil Young went through this weird phase where he only...
Yeah, that's true.
He wouldn't do any of his songs. They get to do that. I mean, even Springsteen had a little bit of that in the 90s. But everybody gets to be who they are and do what they want. Doesn't mean I won't listen to Hello, It's Me by Todd Rundgren.
So it's fair to say...
Yeah.
I want to believe that the only reason you're at the fair today is your commitment to the show. But if I'm being honest, it's not quite that simple.
Life is not that simple.
That's true. So, speaking of music, you're here tonight to see
Bonnie Raitt,
the outstanding Bonnie Raitt.
Yes.
Who has had some incredibly good pop work, but is considered very authentic as well in her connection to so many different, blues, a little of everything in her case, right? That's historic. She's tremendous.
I was a big John Prine fan. I like that sort of troubadour, singer-songwriter genre, just to show you when you try to pigeonhole me. Don't box me in.
Okay.
And obviously, her, Angel from Montgomery is one of her biggest songs that he wrote. I saw a little Bonnie Raitt story. 1979, a week of concerts called the No Nukes concerts.
Oh, I remember them.
I worked on those concerts. Longer story I won't get into.
You promoted them?
I worked on them.
Oh,
I was
okay.
I was in college.
Okay.
I knew the people who organized. I worked on the concerts. And I sat there night after night for the sound check. And everybody would come out and sound check and they would adjust stuff and whatever. Bonnie Raitt, who I didn't know much about at the time, comes out and just belts out a song. And the sound check guy goes, perfect. We got nothing. And everybody just that's how good she was and is.
Are you still anti-nuke?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Even what we've learned about clean energy, about you're not buying it.
I buy it more.
You watched the China Syndrome lately again. You got poisoned by that movie, which is about as misleading a film as ever been done. Go ahead.
I love everybody. This is what I bring to you today.
Humble and contrite.
That's
but
it.
I mean, 3 Mile Island happened at the same time that the China Syndrome came out when we were in the heyday of the No Nukes movement. So, yes, I'm
Okay.
I'm anti-nuke. I understand all the arguments and all that. Okay.
Yeah, because some Dems have moved on that. Not everybody.
And I love all of them.
You do.
How long can we do this?
I don't know. I don't think we can do it more than one more appearance. Okay. I think like next time you're in studio, I think it'll be gone.
We got to go back.
I don't think people are going to buy it. I don't even think people in your own family are buying it.
Never. When I said I'm going to turn over a new leaf, and they said, Dad, there's only so many sides of leaves. I mean, you've done this before.
Yeah. They seem familiar with you.
They know me.
And that's a lot of it.
They know me.
You.
My kids had to grow up with my views on music.
Are they as opinionated as you are?
No, but they're in the ballpark.
In the ballpark.
Yeah,
okay.
They grew up with it. My kids could not go to college until they could tell the difference between a John song and a Paul song.
Okay.
And
so you're going to get yourself in trouble again.
But be careful. But they get to college, and guess what they find out? Dad, nobody else knows the difference between a John song and a Paul song. Like, that whole education wasn't worth it.
Well, I could go down this road longer, but I'm afraid it's going to get ugly.
That's a good tease for the next appearance.
You got Bream.
I'll save it. Yeah, I'll save it because I think. See, I went through the John phase that I don't think you've gotten out of yet.
I've never gotten out of the John phase.
The John phase I was in was, well, if I'm going to be cool, that's the guy I got to like. McCartney's the guy I got to mock and ridicule. And I have to actually pretend that John Lennon is not really everything that he actually was if you read. There was a devastating, do you remember the devastating Esquire story on him? That seemed to sort of expose a side to John that was a little bit less, we all come from the same amoeba and we're all in this together and give peace a chance.
No, there's a whole other, I've written about this.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole other side to John that is awful.
Yeah.
And by the way, you can listen to a few of his early songs.
Yes.
They were not nice. They were dressed up nice, but the lyrics aren't nice. No, there's a terrible side of John Lennon. Doesn't mean, and I didn't like John Lennon because that made, pardon you, that's not because I was going to be cool. And I never mocked Paul McCartney.
You never worried, Andy Luger never worried about being cool.
I was cool.
I rest my case.
Humble and contrite.
But I'm humble about it.
Oh, you are. You acknowledge it.
Right.
Yeah,
see, we're already losing it, Garth.
Yeah.
We're fading away. We were there.
Very true.
It's not going to even last.
This phrase isn't going to last as long as angry centrist has.
I don't think so at all. But the shirts are great. We get to keep them?
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
And if whatever you want to do with them.
Yeah, no, I'm going to keep them. I'm not even going to give them to fans.
This is the new me.
Listeners. Yeah, well, we'll see how long it lasts. If we had more time, we keep going because there are a couple things we didn't get to today, but there's always the next time. You're at the concert tonight.
Yep.
Bonnie Raitt, and then will this be your last fair appearance? Are you guys out here again, do you think?
We're out here at least one more time.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. We got to have a malts, and we're going to have with butter, and what everyone does, ice cream. We're going to do all that stuff.
I had again today, Garzi. We've talked about this on air before. I love the Mancini stop here because you actually feel like you're away from the fair, even though it's like right out the door.
Yeah, I love it.
But the Bomba sandwich, I had another Bomba sandwich today, and I can't. They're unbelievable. Have you ever had a Bomba sandwich from Mancini's?
I have not.
Highly recommend that you. I don't even know what's in it, but usually that means I won't eat it. But it tastes so good, and the bread is so good that I could eat 4 of them.
I love Mancini's.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places.
It's a great spot for
now
sure.
I'll have a Bomba sandwich.
Have a wonderful time tonight at the concert.
The new Andy Luger.
The new Andy Luger, and we'll keep the shirts, and then we'll talk soon. Thanks for coming to see us.
Thanks.
Much appreciated. Andy Luger, ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause? We'll come back with top 5.
I think John Bream might be
Bream
here.
already here?
I think so.
I think Bream is eager to get in on this popular music discussion.
Well, maybe they do some crosstalk. Maybe we make him stay for 10
Well, that's
minutes.
fine, too. We could do that. I don't have a
we'll
problem
see.
with that.
Bream needs his own.
I mean, you
Bream
guys
needs
can
his
argue
own.
with each other.
Yeah. And Mrs. Luger's probably ready to go. Not the same as Mrs. Tubby Smith was one year out here.
Remember that?
I do.
Oh.
She was ready to wrap it up.
She wanted out like 30 seconds.
Tubby
in.
would still be here talking.
Yeah.
Donna was not feeling
wanted
it.
out.
Yeah, Donna was not feeling
All
it.
right, top of the hour pause. Back in a minute from the Great Minnesota Get Together, day number 1.
This is Bumper to Bumper live from the Minnesota State Fair on the Fan, presented by Mesh Besher and Spence.
From the